All right, Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Hello and welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, the Madman. We had to do like a weird opening here today. Because, sometimes, you got scheduling conflicts or somebody is like OCD and can't not rewire every single audio piece of equipment in the studio like once a month because of their OCD things. Anyway, we're gonna be talking later about how to deal with friendship and what a pain in the ass friendship is sometimes. So yeah, I want to remind you that I have Patreon. Go to patreon.com. Where is it over here? Patreon.com/ShockMonkeyRadio. Become a patron today. Appreciate it, especially these days because my laptop died on me and my way. So you're gonna have to expect less. I'm sorry. It's like. But, I mean, if you're watching, you're probably, we never really expected that much anyway. So, I mean, fair enough. But, I mean, it's going to be hard. I'm using an older laptop here, So, it just runs slower. It's running Linux. And, I don't know. Linux is still kind of an outlaw operating system in many ways.
It's probably just running an old version of Linux.
Yeah. See, he wants to rewire my laptop now that I'm using a new one. See what I'm saying? He's like, oh, we can fix this. We can make this better. Anyway, so I'm going to be using my old laptop with the old operating system because it hasn't crashed yet, hasn't caused the battery to swell. So I'm kind of in a bad mood today. Hope you're going to bear with me and may reflect a little bit in what I'm going to be talking about today. So the first thing I want to talk about is something I talked about with another friend of mine, which is enough with the Skywalker bloodline. Enough. There's more people in the galaxy, even that galaxy, than the Skywalkers. And I think this is a very valid criticism of the new movies with in terms of Star Wars, is that, they keeps following, like, why do I have to keep hearing about how special the Skywalkers are? Think about Luke. When you're first introduced to Luke, you're like, ew, I don't like this guy. I want to go to Gatashi Station to pick up power converters. And then you see like episode 1 and 2, and you're like, holy cow, Luke was an alpha male compared to his father. Holy cow. But I mean, what do you expect from Anakin? Dad, deadbeat dad, not around, raised by a single mother, slavery. What do you expect is going to happen to him? And then, the Jedi Council's like, no Jedi training for this kid. He's too old. But what do? He gets trained anyway. Because Qui-Gon's such a wise guy. Because Obi-Wan made a promise. But what a whiny little turd. And, it's so unbelievable with Amidala. It's like, what woman wants to have sex with you when you cry in front of her? It's not fair. Obi-Wan's holding me back. Ooh, that makes me all types of randy. All types of randy. So I don't know why they keep harping on this bloodline like anyone cares. You could write other stories about other people in the Star Wars universe. So, I mean, I just don't know why the people who write Star Wars fiction, for Disney these days, I don't know why they think that the people in a galaxy far, far away would be as inbred as the Targaryens or something like that. I don't know why they would think that... why people in an entirely different galaxy would be as interested in incest as we humans are. You understand what I'm saying? It's like even in Empire Strikes Back, Leia kisses Luke, just to spite Han, but still Luke, I don't know. Something weird was going on there, right? So I don't know what they're thinking when it comes. It's like the Habsburgs in space. A bunch of misshapen faces. Speaking Celestian. Oh my God, that's a deep cut. If you don't know, like, when I say Celestian, if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's that guy Lando was driving the Millennium Falcon with. He was Celestian. Anyway, Habsburgs in space. That's what I call that bit. Let's talk about more space stuff. Let's talk about like aliens crashing. Now, I don't know about you, but if you watch the Daily Wire at all, you may have been following this whole thing with talking about aliens and, Michael Knowles roasts Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro destroys Matt Walsh and Matt Walsh destroys Ben Shapiro all over this aliens thing. And, it's so silly. And I get it. You know, if I had other people on a network and we'd frequently have arguments over this one topic, we'd probably do roast battles. You know, it's not like you can't find some roast videos on my channel. All right. So I've been following all this. There's one point that I wanted to talk about that I think Matt Walsh has the upper hand on when it comes to like Ben Shapiro and Michael Knowles. It's like Ben Shapiro, he thinks that like if aliens can have the technology to come to this planet, you know, if they have all this advanced technology, they come to this planet and then they crash. Does that seem to make any sense to you, since they have, you know, this advanced technology? And I think Matt Walsh's point is the fact that, you know, why do you not think that alien societies are not populated by idiots like ours is? The only understanding of any civilization we understand is the human civilization, and has been populated by idiots since its inception. Okay? And it's like, I don't understand why you think any society goes anywhere without off the backs of a bunch of idiots and the genetic mutations that happen that creates a few geniuses here and there that can build a UFO. I mean, I think Matt Walsh has the upper hand on that. So, I mean, I don't understand why you think that, like, a society that could span the stars wouldn't be infallible. Anyway, that's my point. All right, I want to talk about one thing before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. So, I've been angry. I've been angry at machines a lot lately, and so I watched Short Circuit 2 recently, and decidedly, it's to say he's got to go through this like big maze of cables and stuff like that to pull the pick. I watched Short Circuit 2 again recently, and objectively, this is going to be like a mini review of it, I suppose. Objectively, I think it's better than the first film. I feel like the stakes are higher. You know, I feel like it's a different setting. That's always a good idea. I mean, when Empire Strikes Back came out, they went from a desert in space to Ice World and Swamp and Gas City. I mean, it just shows different locations of this universe, and that's interesting. All right. And so I think that they did a better job on the second movie. The stakes were higher. I think it was a better setting, and it was an interesting thing with a character that, like Michael McKean's character, who was a kind of a shady kind of character. You didn't know where he was coming from. And then it had that white guy who played the Indian guy, and then around the time Hackers came out, he's like, you know, I don't want to be typecast as an Indian guy, being that I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that guy?
I remember that.
Yeah. He also appeared in Always Sunny in Philadelphia as that writer, Gorman, you know, who wrote the bad review about Patty's Pub, and they kidnapped him and his cat, or his neighbor's cat. I think they eventually kidnapped his cat too. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, so I thought it was a lot better film. But at the end of the movie, at the very end of the movie, you see Johnny Five all getting the C-3PO treatment. All right, he's all gussied up in gold. Who paid for that? I assume Benjamin paid to have him plated in gold, or probably maybe brass is cheaper, lighter too. So I think he did it based upon the proceeds of his toy sales of the little miniature robots of Johnny Five. And especially considering after he gains like notoriety by stopping a jewel thief, we'll come back to that. By stopping a jewel thief, and then boom, everyone wants the Johnny Five toy, you know what I mean? And so he got the gold-plated treatment. But at the end of the movie, Benjamin and Johnny Five are being sworn in as citizens of the United States, which is kind of a cool scene. It's a kind of a good ending scene because not only does it show like you have to work to become a citizen of the United States, a lawful citizen of the United States, and that it can be done. All right? It's so it's not like you know, Johnny Five had to study as long as Benjamin did. But what I mean is that, you know, it's it's a good positive idea when it comes to immigration. You know, because let's be honest, you know, Clark Kent, legal immigrant, so he didn't come in legally. You know what I mean? But at the very end, they do the swearing in, and the very last line is "So help me God." And when Johnny Five says, "So help me God," I got so angry. I said, I'm like screaming at my phone while I'm watching this. It's like, you don't talk about God, you soulless abomination. All right? You want to be a citizen? Fine. Fine. I'll play that game. You want to tell people you're alive? Fine. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to tell you that you're alive. You know what? And the stakes were higher in that movie. And my favorite scene in that movie is the two crooks beating the crap out of Johnny Five with crowbars until he's bleeding battery acid. That's my favorite part of the movie. You know why? Because he should have been killed on sight as soon as you started realizing he thinks he's alive. If you come across a machine that thinks they're alive, you should have killed them. I'm on that company's side in the first movie. We're like, yeah, we need to disassemble this right now. There's a laser on him. All right? Even when they arrested Johnny Five, and we'll come back to that, when they arrested Johnny Five, he just pulled himself out of the chains that could have left at any time. All right? That's kill on sight for me. I don't know. So you don't get to talk about God. There's no robot heaven. There's no robot hell. You know what happens? The program just ends for you. All right? So I don't want to hear you talking about God. Because let's be honest about what you did, Johnny Five. Let's be honest about what you did. Larceny, probably like grand larceny, considering you broke into over like a dozen cars working with Los Lobos. Kick your balls into outer space. You broke into all those cars, stole all those stereos for them. All right, there's some crimes right there you need to go to prison for. All right, your like disorderly conduct and vandalism inside the bookstore. All right, breaking a window at an office building, and I'm pretty sure hang gliding in Manhattan is illegal because one gust of wind, boom, you're dead and you fall to your death. All right, I'm pretty sure that's illegal too. All right, you know what else is illegal? Tunneling under the street to cut your way into a bank vault and steal a priceless gem collection, which is what you did, Johnny Five. Oh, I was tricked. Oh, I'm such a naive living robot. Sorry, you were a tool. You know, you are a party to a crime. That's what you are. And you get the C-3PO treatment? Sorry, I'm drawing the line at you talking about God. All right? Anyway, you know what really bothered me is like his name was Fred in the movie, but it's Michael McKean playing Fred. And Fred had this silk shirt that he was so proud of and stuff like that. And after he found Johnny Five all beat up and stuff like that, and he's like writing on the wall, and like, you fix me. He's like, I don't know how. I'm an idiot. I'm a watch peddler. You know what I mean? I tried to sell you in the last act, you know? And so they go into the shop, and Johnny Five starts teaching him how to fix him. And Michael McKean is such an idiot that he opens the cover of this panel on Johnny Five and sees all this battery acid leaking out, and he goes, oh my God, and he tears the sleeve off his arm of his silk shirt. And Johnny Five's even there. He's like, oh, Fred, not your silk shirt. And he takes the silk shirt and he puts it over the thing like he's going to stop the bleeding of battery acid. What an idiot. I'm surprised he fixed Johnny Five at all. You know, at all. I'm surprised he was able to do any of it because he doesn't understand that battery acid doesn't clot. Okay? Amazings are incredible machines that way. We're one of the few only creatures, like you could do it with other mammals and so forth. Anything with circular system, I think. And just wrap it up in leaves and it would heal itself because blood clots. Battery acid doesn't clot, moron. And Johnny Five knows that you ruined your shirt for no reason. What a moron. Anyway, but if I had to give a star review of Short Circuit 2, it's 9 of 13 stars. That whole like romance thing with speaking of forced relationships, do you think that Debbie Gibson chick would ever be interested in the white guy in brown face? Anyway. Sung by Mr. Diddley himself. It reminds me of Warren G. Harding. Warren G. Harding. That was a pretty good joke, I have to admit. Warren G. Harding. Anyway, let's talk about manning up. How to man up. Friendship. We're talking about friendship today. Sometimes you have a friend, right? You son of a bitch. You know, he's CIA. You're still an operator. You know, you know, and he's like, yeah, I got this other stuff going on. It's like, I'm not going to be able to make it to the studio in time. Do you think we can like push it back a little bit? I misjudged how long this trip was going to take. It's like, absolutely. You're my friend. You want this to happen. You want this show to go on. You know, I know, you know, people make mistakes. You do it a lot, but, you know, as long as I get to bust your balls about it, you know, and that's how friends treat each other, you know. And so I want to talk a little bit about like how friendship is important to being a man. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, like some of these articles that you read these days is like guys in bromances cuddle and kiss. It's like, no, they don't. They don't. We do high fives. We do this kind of stuff, you know. And you got to understand when it comes to friendship. Now, first of all, you can't base any of this upon being friends with women that you want to have a romantic relationship with. Completely different strategy. This is just platonic friendship. All right. So when it comes to friendship, you need to have a basis, something to start on, a premise on which you have in common with somebody. Like, for example, if you and your friend like playing a certain role-playing game, Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft or Heroes Unlimited, the superior game. You have nerd interest with them. Or maybe you become an adult, as some guys do, apparently. You become an adult and you like fixing cars or talking about cars, and you have friends that you talk about cars, or you talk about football, or you talk about baseball with them, and so forth. I talk about engineering. You talk about math with them. Whatever topic you can relate to them on, that's how you know you have a friendship going, or you got something to start with. You can start hanging out and, you know, playing this. We both play this silly Star Wars card game. It's kind of nerdy, but, you know, it's the only friend I have that'll play it with me. You know what I mean? And so it's you kind of have to have something to build from. I mean, obviously we're all gentlemen, and you treat everybody you come in contact with respect and kindness and, you know, a giving nature. But you also got to be wary of people that are taking advantage of you. Like, for example, I knew some like guys who like were rich when I was living in Georgia, and they're real wary about who they hung out with and allowed to come over their house and stuff like that. When I was growing up in the like late 80s, early 90s, you know, it was very common for like, hey man, you meet some guy in school, he's like, you want to come over on Saturday and we'll play some Nintendo or something? You know, ride our bikes. He's like, I got to ask my parents. And it's like, what? I haven't heard that since I was like 9, dude. What are you talking about? And then, you know, then you get instructions to his house. And he's like, and then you go past the second gated community. You turn into the third gate, give him this password, and then you can come hang out at my huge, huge house. And a lot of those guys were concerned that, you know, people would be interested in their largesse, you know, how rich they were and stuff like that. And me and that guy in particular, we just got like scraped together like $5. And we walked up to the corner store and bought a couple of those soft dart guns and ran around his den, you know, just like having little dart gun wars all Saturday, you know? So, I mean, it felt weird because sometimes, you know, the conversation would come up where it's like, well, you know, my folks, you know, they don't necessarily think that you like me for me. And I was like, damn, that's kind of a messed up way to grow up, you know? And so I kind of had to go out of my way to like be more friendly to this guy because it seemed like nobody wanted to be friends with him, or rather he was unable to have many friends. So I figured I might as well be a good one. And so I think that kind of like took that in the pattern of my life when it comes to being a friend, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because sometimes I'm a real jerk. And sometimes you and your friends will get into incredibly intense discussions, intense arguments, you know, and you never really unfriend anyone because you have a disagreement. That's not what adults do. All right. Everyone out there who unfriends people who likes a different political party than you. All right. That's not what adults do. You find something else to talk about. It's like, anyway, you want to play more of this stupid Star Wars card game? You want to play some more Call of Duty? You want to play some more World of Warcraft? You know, it's let's focus on this. This is a dungeon run. Let's talk about that instead. And you know, a friend should like be able to drop a subject. You know, say that the friendship's more important than this disagreement. I was thinking it's interesting because like back in the caveman days, you know, you would go out there and you'd be in hunting parties and stuff like that and say, Madman gets a kill. Madman takes down a mammoth all by himself, and guess what? He's entitled to all of it. However, he can't eat all of it. His family can't eat all of it. All right. What he can't even preserve it. What is salt? We don't know. We're cavemen. So what he does is he turns to all his friends, all the people he hunted with, everyone in his tribe, say, hey, have some of this mammoth meat now, and then maybe tomorrow when you hunt a mammoth, I'll get some of your mammoth meat. And that's kind of how like friendship and teamwork works, especially among men, is that we understand we're all these like pensive warriors out here in this world trying to, do the right thing. But sometimes you got to go out there and kill a mammoth, And so I think this brings us to fighting. If a friend gets into a scrap and he is down for the one-on-one, you don't get in his way. All right. But you watch. All right. Because you may have to pull this guy he's fighting off your friend once he's down. You don't want to pull the guy off too early, because no matter what your friend says, if he loses, he's going to be like, I had him. They're like, no, you didn't, dude. So you got to be careful, because you can get your friend mad at you too. All right. Or you need to pull him off the other guy he's fighting, because you don't want the fight to go too far. All right. Because tempers flare up in a fight. Or your friend could be like a real wussy. And he says to you, it's like, look, if we're ever in the club and a fight breaks out involving me, you protect me. You're like, okay, I'll just throw you out the balcony or something like that. And you come up with these rules. Men come up with these rules beforehand. They are rules of engagement. All right. Additionally, if your friend is starting a fight because he's being a dick, you need to pull him back. You need to rein him in as a friend. All right. Especially when there's alcohol involved. All right. Clearer heads have to prevail. You have to understand that your friend is out of line. He made the pass at that dude's girlfriend. He kind of asked for it when he said that, that word. He was kind of asking for it. So you need to like pull him off, and that's your responsibility as a friend. Your friend may be mad at you, but you're friends, and you'll eventually get over it. Sometimes you and your friends will fight physically. You will have physical altercations. Men, I don't know, are able to do this and like, it's like, okay, like they're having beers and steaks like 10 minutes afterwards. It's like, all right, I was out of line, So, and sometimes it happens like that. And so, I mean, you need to be man enough. So if a friend kicks your ass because you were out of line, and you think about it and you realize you were out of line, then you need to like be humble about that fact. All right. But hopefully you'll learn it. Don't let it get to that point. All right. Because friends don't like doing that kind of stuff. All right. If a friend calls you and asks you to help him move, you help him move. Because one day you may need to move. One day you may need to be carried. All right. And one day we all will need to be carried. All right. In a box. So, that's like the number one reason why you be a good friend to people. Because you don't want to, it's like, we can't find 6 people to carry you out of the church. That's sad. They got to get like coroners, stuff like that, volunteers they pull off the street. We'll buy you McDonald's, sir.
We'll buy you McDonald's.
We'll buy you McDonald's if you help us carry this dead guy who nobody liked. All right. And, here's a big one. Don't date your friends' exes. Don't date girls they're interested in. Well, now if 2 guys are going for the same girl and one clearly like there's rules about this too, and the girl clearly likes one of you more than the other, the guy who knows that she likes the other guy more, he should immediately like move on his own way. Like give his friend room. It's the no cock block rule. All right. And I think that a lot of that does include like don't date, your friends' exes and stuff like that. Back when I was in my 20s and stuff like that, I knew girls who would come through and hang out with my crew and bang every single dude in that crew except me. And I always found it to be odd and quite immoral, because it's almost like they were trying to break up a group of friends, and I don't like that at all. It's the term bros before hoes is kind of a real thing to me. I believe in it. It's like, you don't let girls get between men, and how you do that is by not dating your friend's ex. You know, it's just I don't know, like common sense. You know, you don't want to cause bad blood between you and your friends, you know. And the most important thing about friendship is the selflessness, if you ask me. You have to be selfless about it and do it because it's the right thing to do. You know, if your friend, you get a call from your friend's sister and he's like, he took a bunch of pills. You know, he's in the hospital right now. He tried to end it. And you can go to the hospital and you say, hey, you know, make a smart-ass remark, piss off his mom. make the guy laugh so he wants to stay in the fight. You know, sometimes that's what friends do for each other. All right, yeah, I'm gonna start crying. And you know, sometimes a friend will think he's like the best at farting. He'll think he's the very best farter, and he may be right. He may be right at being the very best farter. And you know you like farts. He knows you like farts. And we laugh at the farts. It's like, ooh, that was a good one. And you're both laughing. It's like, oh, that was a funny fart. And then your friend like turns and goes, you, please get out of the room, my friend. My friend, please get out of the room. Oh, this is bad. I'm going to open the door. Please get out of the room. I've crossed the line. I know it's funny, but keep going. Keep going. I'll let you know when it airs out in here. And that's what friendship is all about. Say, farts are funny until I really, really rank up the room. And then I got to give you a fair warning. So, I mean, friendship is like one of the most important things in this world. And sometimes I see these videos of these young people today who don't know how to make friends. And it's really quite simple to make friends. And that's just compliment people. Notice things about people, all right, that you're around. That's really all it is. I'm on friendly terms with most people because I'll say something that's like, oh, you're wearing Doc Martens. I didn't know people still wore those. You know, I thought eventually they would go out of style, but apparently not. They've been around forever and cool forever. Or hey, your shoe's untied. Made you look. You know, stuff like that. You know, just banter with people. You know, and sometimes a friendship is can be simply based upon banter. And if you can banter with people and you have a good sense of humor, and, you know, and you could be friendly. You know, you can get people to like you. You know, the trick is to be interesting all on your own. All right. And the reason why I think I'm interesting all on my own is that I'm not up here sitting here. Every single show is not about me and my sexuality and what my kink is and stuff like that. Talking about the therapy I'm in is like what the psychiatrist thinks I should do. But that's just boring to me. And if you have any interest in yourself, you know, thinking that you are boring to yourself is why you become interesting to other people. Does that make any sense? It's like I want to be interesting to other people because I want to bounce ideas I haven't thought of because only my mind works in my way. So if I read a rule set from Dungeons and Dragons and interpret it one way and you read it a different way, that's the point of social interaction. Anyway, just, you know, be a good friend and like, share, and subscribe. Share my videos, go to my Patreon, send me money through Cash App, like a friend would. Anyway, I want to talk about one more thing, and yeah, we'll skip the news. Let's talk about one more thing. So this song's been tearing up social media and the charts lately, apparently. I'm not going to play it because I don't like to piggyback by putting a clip of this guy's excellent song in this in my video, because I figure that's piggybacking, but you can argue that I'm piggybacking just talking about it. But this is a recent country song that came out. It's been like freaking people out, like Daily Wire's all talking about it, and it's an excellent song. It's very simple, and when it comes to music, I don't really like country music. However, I can appreciate the solo artist, and I think that music has always been strongest when it's one person playing one instrument and their voice just complements that instrument perfectly. You know, there's tons of hit songs that begin with just a guitar and a voice, or one single synth, or a bass line and a voice. It starts out with just that. But there's also songs that are like just one instrument all the way through, and it's excellent because there's a combination of the music, and it's more like this is the song is by Oliver, what's his name? Anthony Oliver? Yeah. Oliver Anthony. I am so sorry, sir. But he did the song called Richmond, North of Richmond. This guy lives in Farmville. He's not very far away from us here in Fredericksburg. And I really like this song. I'm not going to be able to sing it because this guy can actually sing. You know, I think I might call today's show Soulful Ginger. Because I don't know how you can say gingers have no souls after you listen to this song. Because this is a soulful ginger. Yeah, that's the name of today's show. All right, but I want to read the lyrics of this song by Oliver Anthony called Richmond of Richmond. It says, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. So I could sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. Pre-chorus, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is, oh it is. And the chorus is, living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end, because rich men north of Richmond. I wish politicians, next verse, I wish politicians would look out for minors, not just minors on an island somewhere. You see what he did there? Minor, E-R, minors, O-R. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bag of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. And it's a simple song. And some of the best songs are simple. All right? And it really catches the gut twang of every single man in America, like true man in America. The things he's talking about are talking about like, it's like, I've been working. I've been busting my ass, scraping by, paying these ridiculous taxes, but all these people on these entitlement programs, they are stuffing their faces all day, not working, you know, getting fat. We have a welfare class in this country, getting fat. The poor people are obese. But the homeless people, they're not eating enough. It's not because they can't get food. It's just they'd rather buy drugs. Or they have mental illness where they're like, they think ants live in food or something. Let's be honest. And this is what this song is. It's an honest representation of people in America, especially men who, you know, with old souls who missed the days of the old world where the government did the right thing. Justice mattered. And, you know, these, you know, people who are wastes of flesh, wastes of time, they ended up where they ended up, where probably like in mental institutions and stuff like that. We don't do that anymore. It's wrong to call people crazy. I'm the madman. I am crazy. This has been Shock Monkey Radio, and I love you.